Hello there you guys, welcome to another one of my live videos, and this is currently my Barcelona versus Manchester United preview Champions League quarter-final second leg at the Nou Camp tomorrow evening as well. So essentially we do know, obviously this is going to be a big game for Manchester United. Obviously Manchester United trail 1-0 obviously from the first leg. So can Manchester United somewhere along the line turn around this 1-goal deficit and perform a miracle at the Nou Camp, just like we did in the previous round against Paris Saint-Germain. Obviously Manchester United were 2-0 down from the first leg against PSG, and then obviously in the second leg we turned it around and won the game by 3-1 against PSG. So potentially we performed a miraculous comeback as well, and of course made history in the Champions League. And this game tomorrow evening is going to be extremely difficult indeed, considering that Barcelona a very good team, as we all know. They're a well-established club, as I said, and obviously their record at the Nou Camp is really good indeed. Probably obviously this game at the Nou Camp tomorrow evening is obviously going to be different to the game at Old Trafford, of course, because reflecting on the first leg at Old Trafford, I thought Manchester United put a really good performance out, to be quite honest with you, in the first leg at Old Trafford. Obviously we lost the game 1-0, unfortunately obviously it was a Luke Shaw own goal, but I thought Manchester United played really well in the first leg, and there was some good individual performances as well, and I thought we were really unlucky. And I thought Manchester United in the first leg, I thought we pressed them high at the pitch. I thought we showed a lot of desire. The tenacity was very good, and Barcelona were pegged back in their own half the majority of that game, of course, as well. I think the only thing that let Manchester United down in the first leg, we wasn't clinical enough in the final third. We had a lot of the ball in the final third, but we just wasn't creative enough in the final third. We didn't really create enough chances, and I think that's what let Manchester United down in the first leg, of course, as well. But potentially, I thought who played well in the first leg for my own preference. I thought McTominay and Fred played really well in the first leg. I think Fred, is really stepping up to the plate now in these last couple of weeks. He's really stepped up as Fred, to be quite honest with you. And I have been known, for criticising Fred and all that, and I still don't know if he is a long-term solution, to be quite honest with you. But in the first leg, he played really well. I thought he was supporting the defence very well, and he was feeding players ahead of him really well. And I think, he's probably more mobile and better on the ball, than the Man Utd, to be quite honest. So Fred really played well in the first leg. I thought McTominay as well, played really well in the first leg as well, and he's growing and developing, fantastically well indeed. He's Scott McTominay, so I thought he put a really good performance out in the first leg as well, playing between the lines really well, feeding players ahead of him really well. I also thought Smalling had a good game in the first leg as well. Luke Shaw had a pretty decent game in the first leg. I thought Rashford had a disappointing first leg, to be quite honest, because in the first leg Rashford didn't look fully fit, to be quite honest with you. And obviously Rashford's performances haven't been, to his potential best, obviously, because he has sustained, quite a few injuries, and I think it's taken its toll on Rashford, and it's had, a really bad effect on Rashford's, game, to be quite honest with you. Obviously he hasn't graduated to that level yet. Obviously he's not on the same level as Mbappe and all that. It's probably going to take him at least a couple of years, to emulate to Mbappe's level, of course, as well. But he's still young. He's got immense talent, and Rashford has still got a lot of years ahead of him as well. But in the first leg, he had about 4 wasted chances, did Marcus Rashford as well. But Barcelona were very poor in the first leg, to be quite honest with you. I thought Messi was really poor. I thought Suarez was really poor for Barcelona. Barcelona didn't create anything in the first leg, to be quite honest with you. I think our bad performer, in the first leg, was definitely Ashley Young. And, I read some of his stats, from the first leg. I think he had 11 attempted crosses, did Young. Not one of them found a United player. Young also lost a possession 30 times as well in the first leg. I read a stat about that as well. So potentially all can happen, it's only 1-0, of course. The tie, of course, is far from over as well. And the one good thing about this, match tomorrow evening, it's going to bring back a lot of memories for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well, because obviously 20 years ago when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was a player, obviously, one of his most iconic moments in 1999 as a player, as I said, obviously, he scored the winner in the Champions League final at the Nou Camp against Bayern Munich, and of course, won Manchester United the treble as well. So this is going to bring back a lot of memories for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. Obviously, Barcelona are going to be prepared for this game tomorrow evening, considering they did draw at the weekend against Husky, or was it 0-0, I think. But obviously Barcelona in that game rested, the majority of their first team, of course. So they're obviously, going to be ready for this game. But we do basically know, guys, it's not the Barcelona who beat us in the 2011 Champions League final, the 2009 Champions League final. So basically they're not as good as they used to be, but they are still arguably, one of the best teams in the world. They've still got arguably the best player in the world, of course, through Lionel Messi as well. So potentially we need to see a better performance from Manchester United, tomorrow evening, to be quite honest with you, because obviously reflecting on the game at the weekend against West Ham, Manchester United, did get the result, but I'll tell you what, Manchester United, did make hard work of it, and the performance, was way below par. Obviously that game at the weekend, obviously the result was more essential than the performance, but obviously that was a pivotal game at the weekend, Manchester United had to win, to keep our top four ambitions alive, and Manchester United, did win the game at the weekend against West Ham by 2-1. Obviously, Paul Pogba, scoring twice from the penalty spot as well. But it was very, very poor performance at the weekend. Solskjaer, I think, rotated at the weekend. He did make about 5, changes. Obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer obviously rested some players, for the game tomorrow evening as well. But yeah, it was a very, very poor performance at the weekend. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well because he's very, very honest. He came out, he come out with an honest admission, after the game against West Ham. He did Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. He gave his reflections on the game, and he did basically say, West Ham were the better team. He said Manchester United, got lucky, and he said we were lucky, to get all 3 points. So he did say Man United, got away with it against West Ham at the weekend. But obviously the result is all what matters, to be quite honest with you as well. So we will give you a bit of team news now going ahead into this game, of course, as well. There will be rotations made in this game against Barcelona. Of course, as you all know, guys, Luke Shaw, of course, is suspended. And for me, Luke Shaw is going to be a big, big miss, to be quite honest with you, Luke Shaw, because he's been a regular. He's our first choice left back, is Luke Shaw, and he's reliable on that left-hand side. He can make them overlapping runs, can Luke Shaw, and he's still got a lot of years ahead of him. I think we've got him from Southampton, was it, for about £30 million. Obviously, we know Luke Shaw, of course, is suspended for the game at the weekend against Everton as well, which is a shame. So that left back position does concern me a bit, going into this Barcelona game. So potentially it's probably likely that Dalot will play at left back. Darmian's available as well. Reports are now saying that Darmian has recovered from injury, so Darmian could be playing at left back, but it's probably more than likely Diego Dalot will be playing at left back. We do know now, obviously, Ashley Young, of course, is available as well, because obviously Ashley Young didn't play at the weekend against West Ham because obviously he was suspended. Well, maybe Ashley Young may play at left back, maybe Diego Dalot, may play at right back, of course, as well. We know, obviously, at the weekend, Rojo played at left back, as we all know, but for me, Rojo's had his time at Manchester United, mainly his career has been affected, the amount of injuries he's suffered as a Manchester United player, so I'd like to see, Rojo leave the club in the summer as well. So it's probably likely, it'll probably be, Diego Dalot at right back and Ashley Young at left back or something like that, or it'd probably be, the other way around, maybe something like that as well. Also, too, to confirm, obviously, Lindelof will return as well, because Lindelof didn't play against West Ham. We do know Scott McTominay will return as well, because McTominay didn't play against West Ham. I think Solskjaer's confirmed that, obviously, McTominay's going to be playing, and Solskjaer's also confirmed that Rashford will be starting as well. Rashford didn't start the game at the weekend against West Ham. He did come on as a sub, but he didn't currently start the game as well. And McTominay, as I said, didn't start against West Ham at the weekend as well. Potentially there has been talks, there's a bit of news going on saying, as I did say, Darmian's now reportedly recovered from injury. It's also basically said Matic has now returned to training, because obviously Matic has missed the last couple of games, due to his current illness he's had as well. But I wouldn't choose Matic. I'd drop Matic. I wouldn't choose Matic. I'd rather, have Fred. I think is a better solution, Fred, to be quite honest, because as I did say, he's really, really stepping up to the plate, is Fred. So I would select Fred over Matic, because Fred's more mobile. As I said, he's better on the ball, he has proven in the last couple of games at least as well. So I presume, and I think Ander Herrera, of course, is still not available as well. So I presume the midfield will be, Pogba, McTominay and Fred in that midfield. And as I said, Herrera's still out. And obviously there's been news coming out about Alexis Sanchez as well. I want to give you an update on as well. Obviously he's been out for a while, because obviously he's just recovered from a knee injury. I think he's now injury free, is Alexis Sanchez. He was training at the weekend, so he has now returned back to training as Sanchez. So potentially there's been talk saying that he could be in contention to start as well, could Alexis Sanchez. So yeah, I'll give you my starting 11 prediction on the game. So I think he'll go with De Gea in net. This is my starting 11 prediction. This is my own preference. So I think he'll go with De Gea in net. I think he'll go with Diego Dalot at right back. I think it'll be Lindelof and Smalling as a centre-back partnership. He'll go with Ashley Young at left back. The midfield three will be Pogba, McTominay and Fred. And I think the front three, well, this could be a bit controversial, but in my opinion, I think the front three, will be probably Rashford on the left, Lingard on the right, and probably Lukaku up top, because I think possibly Martial, could be dropped for this game, because Martial's performances haven't been great, most recently. Well, neither has Marcus Rashford's, neither has Jesse Lingard's, because I think Lingard, Martial and Rashford, have underperformed, for quite a while now, to be quite honest here. But I think possibly, Martial could be dropped for this game as well. But obviously, our game plan's obviously, Barcelona are going to maintain a lot of the possession, but our game plan is obviously, we're going to, sit back, we're going to be deep, obviously we're going to play very, very defensive indeed, and somewhere along the line, Man United are going to figure, to hit them on the counter-attack, of course, as well. But it's going to be a very, very good game indeed. Always possible in the Champions League. Obviously they're one of the favourites to win the Champions League, Barcelona, but arguably, they're still one of the best teams in the world. They're one of the richest clubs in the world. They've got an ecstatic stadium. They're a well-established club, of course, as well. So yeah, they're going to be fired up for this game, Barcelona. Look at the record at the Nou Camp. I think they've only lost one game all season at the Nou Camp as well of Barcelona. So, essentially, I want to give you an update as well in relation to the director of football as well, because we know Man United are in search, to get a director of football to come in, because obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to need backing in the summer transfer window, and obviously we need to get a director of football in, to change the structure of the club and all that. So, more news is updated about that. Paul Mitchell has obviously been mentioned. Obviously, reportedly it says Man United, Arsenal, and Chelsea are chasing Paul Mitchell, but now recent reports have indicated now that Paul Mitchell is going to make a decision this summer on his future with RP Leipzig, because obviously we do know that obviously Paul Mitchell is head of recruitment RP Leipzig. I think he has been at RP Leipzig a couple of years now. I think he's still under contract with RP Leipzig till 2020, till 2020, but I think RP Leipzig are trying to convince him to sign a new deal until 2025 with RP Leipzig as well. Obviously, he used to be head of recruitment at Tottenham and Southampton, of course, where he did work alongside Pochettino, and obviously, Paul Mitchell is born and bred in Manchester as well, so I think it's been revealed he's going to make a decision, is Paul Mitchell, on his RP Leipzig future this summer, of course, as well. But you can see the deficiencies in Manchester United's squad, of course, as well. Potentially we do need signings this summer. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer wants to bring at least 5 new additions to the club this summer. Obviously, Manchester United are expected to orchestrate a big summer clear out as well, and probably up to 6 players at least, could be leaving Manchester United this summer. Obviously, there's still some contract renewals to sort out as well. But obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has identified the positions, where he thinks Manchester United need to strengthen up. We need a right back. We definitely need a right winger. We need a couple of additions. We need a couple of additions in that midfield as well. We also need a centre back in as well. So I think he's keen on bringing at least 5 new additions to the club this summer, and he wants to build a squad, worthy of the club's history, does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because obviously we've got to get the right players that have got the ability to elevate Manchester United, of course, in the next 2 to 3 years at least. And Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has been in regular contact with Ed Woodward, so he is making plans for the summer. Of course, obviously people are saying, we should be sensible with our recruitment this summer, maybe not spend too much money on one player, because there is quite a few players out there available for a reasonable figure. But for me, we have got to be ruthless in this summer transfer window. If we want to be up there competing and winning trophies again, of course, maybe we may not be up there competing next season for the title row. Maybe next season our aspirations, maybe the top 4, just like now our aspirations is to currently get the top 4 this season, so we can get Champions League for next season as well. But we have been in a bad vein of form lately, and the performances have really, really, got to improve, to be quite honest. But I still think, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is definitely, the right man for Manchester United, without a shadow of a doubt. Because obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer knows everything about the club. He's a great, great player for 11 years. Obviously, as I did say, one of his most iconic moments as a player was in 1999 when he won Manchester United the treble at the Nou Camp against Bayern Munich. And this is why I said it's going to bring back a lot of memories for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when we go to the Nou Camp tomorrow evening, of course, and play them. But he's still the right, still the right man for Manchester United, is Solskjaer. We know that Solskjaer hasn't got a great managerial pedigree, of course, but obviously now he's got the job permanently. It's a 3-year deal. Obviously his expectation levels are going to be, in these 3 years, obviously, to get Manchester United back to a powerhouse, as we was under Alex Ferguson. Of course, I think Manchester United are going to get around £200 million to spend this summer. I think that's going to be Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's spending spree this summer as well. But we do know we didn't spend out in January. We We didn't get as priority targets last summer, so it's essential that we get as priority #1 targets this summer as well. But Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, of course, because obviously we know that a lot of money's being spent at Manchester United. About nearly 700 million's been spent, since Ferguson retired. We've had different managers with different philosophies, so a lot of money has been spent at the club as well. But I think we do need at least 5 new additions to come to Manchester United this summer as well. So now we'll give you a bit of an update on some transfer news that's currently going on in the media. And today in the media there has been talks going on about Moussa Dembele. And Moussa Dembele plays for Lyon. He's only 22 years of age. He's a striker. And reports have come out today saying that Manchester United are considering making a summer move for Moussa Dembele. It also said that Arsenal have showed an interest in Moussa Dembele as well. This is Moussa Dembele's only first. It's only his first season with Lyon's Moussa Dembele's. I think Lyon got him last summer. Lyon got him last summer for just under £20 million from Celtic, of course, because obviously he's a former Celtic player, where he did serve a couple of years at Celtic. He's also obviously, a former Fulham player as well, when he was a lot younger. And I think he has got a 5-year deal with Lyon, so he's under contract with Lyon till 2023. So reportedly Manchester United have showed an interest in him. I think he scored 19 goals so far this season with Lyon as well. So reportedly his performances have been really, really good for Lyon this season as well. So potentially Man United could identify, Moussa Dembele as a potential replacement for Romelu Lukaku, because there has been rumours that Lukaku could be possibly, leaving Manchester United this summer, of course. Obviously Manchester United, paid £75 million for Lukaku a couple of years ago. And to be fair to Lukaku, he has been pivotal at the right moments at times as Lukaku. He can score goals, can Lukaku. His goal scoring record is very, very good. But what the thing that lets Lukaku down, his finishing isn't good enough. He doesn't get enough of them runs in behind. His first touch, really, really concerns me as well. So I think a few Man United fans are demanding maybe Manchester United should move Lukaku on this summer as well. I think his agent has revealed, Lukaku's agent has revealed that he's open to moving on this summer. Is Romelu Lukaku as well. So maybe we could identify Moussa Dembele as a possible replacement for Lukaku as well. And there's been a lot of other targets we do know that Manchester United are interested in as well. And now there is reports coming out about Napoli's Koulibaly, because obviously we know that Manchester United are in search for the centre-back, of course. And now recent reports are coming out about Koulibaly now, saying that Napoli have revealed their asking price, and reportedly Napoli want around £110 million for Koulibaly if they are willing to do any business for him this summer. Because obviously Manchester United, of course, have been long admirers of Koulibaly. As we all know. Obviously we tried getting him last summer, we didn't get him. Obviously we had talks in January. Man United back in January had 3 bids turned down for Koulibaly. He's 27, I think. He's nearly going on 28 years of age. But we do know it's going to take a bit of at least £100 million, to convince Napoli, to do any business this summer. But now recent reports have said Napoli want around 110 million for him. Obviously he recently signed a new deal, so he's under contract with Napoli until 2023 as well as Koulibaly. But Koulibaly, I do really, really like him, and he'd address our defensive deficiencies fantastically well, and he'd look very, very good alongside Eric Bay Victor Lindelof in our back line, if he came in. And as I did say, if a new centre-back is to come in this summer, Eric Bay's future at the club, could be in serious doubt indeed, because obviously he's been in and out of the team this season, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preferred the likes of Chris Smalling and Phil Jones ahead of Eric Bay, of course, as well. But Koulibaly, he would be fantastic indeed, with Koulibaly. I really like him. He's good in the air. His defensive capabilities are good. He shows that ability, to play out from the back as well. So possibly Man United, could still get him this summer, but we've got to pay a world record fee. Obviously, the most expensive defender at the moment is obviously, Liverpool's Virgil van Dijk, who Liverpool paid 75 million for in January of last year. So obviously, it's going to take a bit of at least £100 million, to convince, Napoli to sanction Koulibaly off as well. And there's been other defenders, that Manchester United, of course, have been interested in as well. We do know there's still a lot of talks, going on about Rafael Varane as well, and I really, really highly rate Rafael Varane. Again, it's remarkable what he's achieved, and he's 25 years of age, Rafael Varane. He's obviously spent the majority of his career in Spain and Real Madrid. Obviously now this is his 8th season at Real Madrid, of course, but the thing is I don't think Real Madrid are willing to sell him unless any team is willing to meet his staggering release clause, which is around £429 million. That's his current release clause in his current deal, Rafael Varane's. But reports came out the other other week from Spain saying that he was considering leaving Real Madrid this summer, because he has been at Real Madrid 8 years. He's made about over 270 appearances in all competitions for Real Madrid. But it's remarkable what he's achieved, Rafael Varane as a player. I think he's won about 15, 16 major honours at Real Madrid as Rafael Varane, if I'm right. I think he's still got a contract, with Real Madrid until 2022 as Rafael Varane as well. But yeah, I do really highly rate him. Obviously, he began his career in France with Lens as well. So there has been talks about Rafael Varane going on as well in the media. And we do know, obviously, Toby Alderweireld is available for a reasonable figure this summer. And there has been talks about Alderweireld, going on as well, and now it's saying Arsenal and Chelsea have reportedly expressed an interest in Alderweireld. Obviously, reports are coming out the other day saying that Manchester United were reportedly, willing to trigger his 25 million release clause this summer, because obviously, Tottenham activated a 12-month extension back in January. They also included a 25 million release clause, so now Alderweireld is going to be available for a reasonable figure this summer. We do know he's nowhere near the same calibre or level as the likes of Rafael Varane or Koulibaly or Sergio Ramos or Diego Gordon, the top class centre backs. He's nowhere near on the same level as them, is Alderweireld, but obviously he's a cheaper alternative, of course, and he's available for 25 million this summer, is Alderweireld, and he's well Premier League proven, of course, and he has been at Tottenham a number of years now as Alderweireld. I think this is his 4th season out at Tottenham. He's made over 150 appearances, I think, for Tottenham as well. But Manchester United, were linked to him last summer. We were linked to him last summer, but obviously we couldn't come to an agreement to get him. He's blatantly refused to sign a new contract here with Tottenham. I have got reservations about him now. I think he's lost that yard of pace. Obviously, not too long ago, he's just turned 30 years of age as well. But he's been a potential Manchester United target as Alderweireld, of course, as well. He's been a potential Manchester United target as well. So yeah, we're linked with quite a few centre-backs indeed, but we need someone that can partner alongside Lindelof in our backline as well. For me, Smalling's used as a backup option, but we need someone that can go alongside Victor Lindelof, of course, as well. And obviously, we do know that Manchester United, need a couple of additions in midfield, without a shadow of a doubt, indeed. Because obviously now Man United are emphasising a couple of targets, that could possibly, replace Ander Herrera. Obviously, Ander Herrera is doubtful for tomorrow evening as well. I think Ander Herrera is definitely leaving Manchester United this summer, without a shadow of a doubt. Because obviously, reports came out saying that Ander Herrera has agreed a deal, to join PSG on a free at the end of the season. And I think it's a 3-year deal worth around £150,000 a week, is it, something like that. Reportedly, Man United have been locked in contract negotiations with Herrera, but reportedly Ander Herrera was demanding, allegedly it did say Herrera was demanding £200,000 a week from Manchester United, if he was to remain loyal to the club, if he was to sign a new contract at the club. But reportedly Manchester United were not willing to meet Herrera's £200,000 a week wage demand. So I think potentially now he's made a decision, and it's looking likely he's going to PSG this summer on a free transfer. And we do know Ander Herrera isn't a £200,000 a week player. He has been a good servant to the club, I'll credit him for that. He has been a good servant to the club. Obviously, most recently he hasn't been playing because he's had an injury. He's been injured, of course, as Ander Herrera. But I've analysed his performances as since he ever came to Manchester United playing, especially since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer coming. I think his performances have really improved. He's been mainly fitting that midfield trio very, very well. But it's this is his 5th season at Manchester United, and I think he's made about 187 appearances for the club. I think he has had rough patches. He has had rough patches in his Manchester United playing tenure. He has had rough patches as Ander Herrera. He wasn't really getting the game time under Jose Mourinho and all that under Herrera, but he's been very, very good. Since Solskjaer's come in, he breaks up the play well. He's tenacious and all that. He's got a lot of tenacity about his play as well. But we do know these better options than Ander Herrera out there as well. And we still know that Paul Pogba's future is up in the air with the club as well. So for me, we also need a centre defensive midfielder that's fast and tenacious, of course, as well. So we do need a couple of additions in midfield. But there has been a few midfielders, that have been mentioned, of course, as well. We know there's been the talks of Saul Niguez, that Atletico Madrid midfield I've been updating you on. Obviously, Saul Niguez plays for Atletico Madrid. Obviously, he spent the majority of his career in Spain with Atletico Madrid. He graduated from their youth system. He's now gone on to make like over 200 appearances. He's only young. He's Saul Niguez. He's only 24. He's Spanish, of course, as well. I think United and City have been interested in Saul Niguez, but he's going to cost quite a bit of money because he's got a release clause of around £128 million of Saul Niguez in his deal with Atletico Madrid. I think Atletico are trying to Atletico are preparing to try and offer Saul Niguez a new contract term as well. So do you think he blended our midfield very, very well if he was to come in? Obviously, he can play as a defensive mid, he can also play as a central mid, and he can also play on the right as well, can Saul Niguez as well. So there has been talks about him going on in the media as well. We do know reports came out the other week as well. Well, yeah, should I say, whenever it was, but reports came out about Idrissa Gueye as well for Everton, and Idrissa Gueye is 29, of course Herrera is 29, so they are the same age, Idrissa Gueye and Herrera. Obviously you can say Herrera's had the better of the career, but the reports coming out the other day about Idrissa Gueye, as I said, saying that Manchester United have identified him as a possible replacement for Fernando Herrera. Idrissa Gueye is well Premier League proven, so in that aspect, that's very, very beneficial, for Manchester United, because he's Premier League proven as Idrissa Gueye. Obviously he's a defensive midfielder, as Idrissa Gueye, as I said, he's 29, he's a Senegal international, and then he's been at Everton a number of years now, and I think he's heading into his 4th season now as an Everton player, as Idrissa Gueye. He's obviously a former Villa player as well. When he was a lot younger, he played for Lille as well, did Idrissa Gueye. But he breaks up the play very, very well. He completed the most tackles in the 2016-17 Premier League season as well. Everton, I think, paid just over £7 million for him. Of course, Everton triggered a release clause in Idrissa Gueye's contract, and they got him for just over £7 million from Aston Villa, but I think he only spent like one season at Aston Villa, did Idrissa Gueye. Reports have been coming out saying that he could be available for £30 million or just under this summer as well, so that's a reasonable figure, to be quite honest with you as well. That's quite a reasonable figure, to be quite honest with you as well. And obviously, we do know, that he got a new contract, didn't he? No, he renewed his contract back in February of last year until 2022 with Everton as well. Obviously, based on his performances at Everton, they've been really, really good. PSG obviously inquired about getting Idrissa Gueye back in January, but I think PSG had a bid or two turned down for Idrissa Gueye back in January as well. I think Everton wanted around £40 million for him in January, but PSG did inquire about getting him, back in the January window as well. We do know there's been a lot of talks about Declan Rice going on as well, and I do really, really like Declan Rice, and reports came out the other week saying that Manchester United were prepared to spend up to £50 million on Declan Rice. Obviously, Idrissa Gueye is a cheaper alternative, but Declan Rice is a good player as well. He's mainly defensive midfielder, but I think he can actually operate as a centre-back as well. He is one of England's youngest upcoming talent, is Declan Rice. He's only 20 years of age, of course. And he's got a lot of years ahead of him as Declan Rice. And reportedly he's had a good season this season, West Ham, so he's growing, developing and flourishing fantastically well under Manuel Pellegrini. He signed a new deal back in December, so now he's under contract with West Ham until 2024, is Declan Rice. But it could take a bid of up to £50 million, to convince, obviously, West Ham to sanction him off this summer. Obviously he's a former Chelsea player. He graduated from Chelsea's youth system, of course. I think he joined Chelsea at the age of 7. I think he joined Chelsea at the age of 7, and then I think he spent a number of years at Chelsea. Got axed off by Chelsea at 14, then initially joined West Ham's youth academy. So he's been in West Ham's senior squad, quite a few years now as Declan Rice as well. And I've analysed some of his performances this season. They have been, quite impressive indeed. So he's going to be available for a reasonable figure this summer as well. There's been a lot of talks going on about Bruno Fernandes as well, and he's been a potential Manchester United target. And reports have mentioned that Manchester United, reports according to the Portuguese press have actually, mentioned that Man United have had negotiations with Bruno Fernandes' representatives over the summer transfer. Bruno Fernandes is 24, he's Portuguese as well, and reportedly he's had a good couple of seasons with Sporting Lisbon. I think this is his second season at Sporting Lisbon, if I'm right. Obviously he's a former Udinese and San Pandora player, so when he was obviously younger, he spent the majority of his career in Italy, of course, as well. But I think if he was to leave Sporting Lisbon this summer, he'd probably maybe favour a return back to Italy, because he has got quite a lot of experience of, playing in Italy, of course, as well. But he has got a release clause in his deal with Sporting Lisbon of around, I think it's around £90 million, is it? Or something like that as well. But he's been a potential Manchester United target as well. We do know there's been talks about Joe Felix as well, the Benfica youngster. I've been updating you on a regular basis. Obviously he's 19 years of age, is Joe Felix. Buyout clause, I think of around £100 million, is it? Or something like that. But I think he's mainly a winner, but I think he can play in other positions as well. But he is versatile. Obviously spent... back in January, should I say, a lot of teams, expressed their interest in Joe Felix, of course. I think Liverpool inquired about getting him back in January, but he has got a buyout clause of around £100 million, and he only broke into the Benfica first team last year, did Joe Felix as well. So he's been mentioned in the media, of course, as well. But we do know the club's number one priority target is obviously, Borussia Dortmund's Jadon Sancho, but we do know he's going to cost Manchester United around £100 million. If Man United are going to get him this summer, and that's if he is for sale. But if he is, he's going to cost Man United around £100 million. He's obviously one of England's youngest upcoming talents. He's just turned 19 years of age. I've analysed his fantastic performances he's put in, at Borussia Dortmund. He's been at Borussia Dortmund a couple of years now, and his performances have been really, really good indeed. He shows that ability to attack. He can score goals as well. Can Jadon Sancho, and I think he would be. I think he's reliable, and I think Jadon Sancho is the right solution for Manchester United. And I think in our front line, he'd combine very, very well with the likes of Rashford and Anthony Martial and all that, with Jadon Sancho. Obviously, he's still got a contract with Borussia Dortmund Borussia Dortmund until 2022. Obviously, he's a former Manchester City player as well. I think he served a couple of years with Manchester City. But Borussia Dortmund have been known for doing business with their players, of course. Because they did it with Pulisic. They sold Pulisic in January for £47 million. Obviously, he's loaned back to Dortmund for the remainder of the season. He's going to be officially a Chelsea player next season. You saw Borussia Dortmund sold Ousmane Dembele a couple of years ago to Barcelona for around £106 million. They sold Aubameyang for 59 million to Arsenal as well. So they have been known for doing business with their players, but we do know Jadon Sancho is not going to come cheap. Obviously, if we come to the agreement to get him in the summer, it'll make him our most expensive signing probably, and making the most expensive English footballer ever, of course, as well. But he has got immense talent, of course, and I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United. And I think he'd be the right solution for Manchester United indeed as well. So I want to give you an update on Paul Pogba as well. I think I did give you an update, guys, on this yesterday, was it, or the day before, in relation to Paul Pogba. Now, a lot of reports have been coming out, obviously, linking him with a move to Real Madrid, as we all know. His performance wasn't good against West Ham at the weekend, even though he did score 2 of the goals from the spot. I think his performances have been below par, quite recently, to be quite honest with you. And obviously, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has held talks with Paul Pogba, of course, and obviously Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, insists that he's happy at Manchester United, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer probably still feels as though that Paul Pogba has got a big future at Manchester United, and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer says that Paul Pogba, of course, is not thinking about a move to Real Madrid. He is focused on Manchester United, and this is from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's preference. So, reportedly now, Manchester United are set to hand the captain's armband to Paul Pogba on a permanent basis. This is obviously when probably, Valencia leaves Manchester United this summer on a free transfer, because obviously Valencia is going in the summer. Valencia has served 10 years at Manchester United, but obviously we opted against the decision, to give him that new 1-year extension. So looking like Valencia is obviously, going on free transfer in the summer when his contract expires. So then we're set to give Paul Pogba the captain's armband on a permanent basis, to convince him to stay at Manchester United, of course. And obviously it's basically said his agent Marliolo, of course, the other week has held a couple of negotiations with Real Madrid over the summer move. He's also been to Manchester, to hold negotiations over the summer move for Paul Pogba as well, because obviously, reports were coming out the other week saying obviously Paul Pogba, was considering leaving Manchester United this summer. He was talking a lot about Real Madrid, of course, and this could have concerns for Man United and Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as well. But we do know that obviously, Zinedine Zidane is a big admirer of Paul Pogba, of course, and he's emphasising his targets as Zinedine Zidane. He did say Real Madrid, could offload Toni Kroos and that, this summer, so they can make room for the likes of Pogba and Christian Eriksen, because obviously Christian Eriksen is also a Real Madrid target as well. And reports have been coming out saying that Real Madrid are preparing, to put a bid in of around £130 million for Paul Pogba this summer. But I don't think Man United are going to let Paul Pogba go. I think Manchester United are also in the process of beginning a contract negotiation with Pogba as well, to try and get him, to sign a new contract. Reports came out the other week saying that Pogba was demanding an astronomical salary of around £500,000 a week, if he was to remain loyal to Manchester United, if he was to sign a new contract with Manchester United. Paul Pogba was demanding £500,000 a week, but I think Man United, of course, are willing to give him this, to convince him to stay. So he wants about £500,000 a week. So he wants to be the highest paid player alongside Sanchez at the club. But obviously at the moment he's still got over 2 years left on his deal with Manchester United, so he's still under contract here till 2021. Is Pogba, with an option of a further year as well, as we all currently know. But there has been a lot of rumours linking him with a move to Madrid, and we do know overall he has been one of our most influential players since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's come in, and most recently his performances have been below par, but when he's playing in the right vein and manner, he's one of the best midfielders in world football, and he's heading into his 4th season now as a Manchester United player, because obviously we got him from Juventus back in 2016, of course, for £89 million, of course, as well. So there has been a lot of rumours, linking with a move to Madrid, but what he said, it just indicates that he's not intending on spending the rest of his playing career in England, of course, as well. So his future's up in the air at the moment, but I think he'll still be a Manchester United player for my own preference next season, because I think Man United will convince him to stay by giving him the captain's armband on a permanent basis and that. But we want to get De Gea a new contract term as well, and that's another problem, because De Gea is demanding £350,000 a week from Manchester United, and Man United are reportedly not willing to meet his £350,000 a week wage demands, and this is why Manchester United have not yet come to an agreement, to get David De Gea a new contract term at the club. And he has been a great servant for the club as David De Gea. This is now his 8th season now at Manchester United. Is David De Gea's, but I really do like David De Gea. To be quite honest, he's grown, developed, and flourished. He's potentially the best goalkeeper in the world, as we all know. Obviously last year Man United activated a 12-month extension, so he is under contract here till the summer of 2020, of course. But I think we have emphasised a couple of targets in case Man United are forced to sanction De Gea off this summer if we can't come to an agreement to get him a new contract. Obviously at the moment he's on his current deal, he's on £200,000 a week, so he's demanding £150,000 pay rises, De Gea, if he's to commit his long-term future at Manchester United. And as I did say, Man United have been in talks of getting him a new contract. Real Madrid have been long admirers of De Gea. Obviously Real Madrid, inquired about getting him, back in 2015, and they've been long admirers of him. Real Madrid were on the brink of getting De Gea in 2015, but obviously they didn't. And now recent reports came out the other week saying that PSG have reportedly showed an interest in De Gea as well. But De Gea's made over 300 appearances for Manchester United. He's won everything here domestically. He's won the Club's Player of the Year for out of the last 5 seasons as well. I think he's made over 300 appearances in all competitions. I think he's got 100 Premier League clean sheets as well. So hopefully somewhere along the line, Manchester United can keep David De Gea. But we know Valencia is on his way out of the club in the summer. I think Rojo could be on his way out of the club in the summer, because Rojo's career has been affected, with the amount of injuries he's had. Darmian possibly on his way out in the summer as well, even though he has recovered from injury. But he has endured a very difficult time as a Manchester United player. Sanchez probably on his way out in this summer, even though it's going to be hard to find a buyer for him, considering his substantial wages he's on. Unless he improves now, because obviously when he does get the chance, Sanchez obviously now he's recovered from injury, and if he does improve, then maybe it may be a different scenario. But for me, he's been very inconsistent when he's played, and he has sustained quite a few injuries. But when he's played, he just looks so restricted. It just looks as though he hasn't been getting the freedom. He hasn't really settled in as a Manchester United player. But obviously he's our highest paid player, and obviously it's going to be hard to find a buy for him, because there won't be many teams that will be able to afford his current wages he's on as well. So possibly could still go in the summer. Juan Mata could be on his way out of the club in the summer as well, and I don't want Mata to go. I hope somewhere along the line Manchester United can come to an agreement to get him a new contract, of course. He probably won't be a long-term contract, considering that Juan Mata, of course, is age 30 now, but hopefully somewhere along the line, I hope we can get him a new contract indeed. So yeah, guys, that's really everything to update you with today. As you've just seen, this is mainly, this is my Barcelona versus Manchester United preview, Champions League quarter-final, second leg, of course. I've already, give you my starting 11 prediction. As I said, De Gea in goal, Diego Dalot at right back, Lindelof Smalling centre back partnership, Ashley Young left back. The midfield three will be obviously, he'll revert to obviously McTominay, Fred, and Pogba, and the front three, Rashford on the left, Lingard on the right, and Lukaku up top. So that is my prediction, even though there is talk saying Matic could be back in contention. Matic's back in training now. Obviously he's been out with an illness. Herrera is definitely doubtful, so Herrera he's going to have no chance. There's talks about Sanchez could be in contention as well. Obviously this is Sanchez's former club, obviously Barcelona. Well, initially before United he was at Arsenal. I think before Arsenal he was at Barcelona, was Alexis Sanchez as well. So could be in contention to play against his former club called Sanchez as well. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching, guys.